Okay, what I want you to do is give this a go yourself first, then I'm going to go through the solution with you guys, step by step of how I would do it. Pause the video, give it a go. Okay, what I would do first is I would label these logic gates. So I'm going to call, whoa, easy tiger. I'm going to call this a NOT. This is going to be a NOR. XOR. And a NAND. So let's start with 0, 0, 0. So let's imagine that we've got person A called 0, person B called 0, and person C called 0. So person A walks down this path here, and he goes to this NOT gate. He pops out the other end a 1, because it's a NOT gate. Person 0 walks along the path here. 1. Now, what are the rules of a NOR gate? Well, all we need to do is simply treat it as an OR gate, then reverse the answer. So if it's an OR gate, and we've got 1 or 1, it will normally give us a 1. But then we have to NOT it because of this little circle thing here. So in fact, it's going to give us a 0. So we're going to have a 0 popping out here. Now, person A goes down here, raise back to 0 again because of this. We start on 0. The path goes down here before we get to the NOT gate. So we're going to put a 0 here. And we got a 0 here. Now the truth table for XOR, you should know. So if we did A, B, and X, 0, 0 is 0. 1, 0 is 1. 0, 1 is 1. And 1 and 1 is 0. Let's make this a bit better. So this is our XOR gate. So based on both of these inputs being 0, it's going to be 0 which pops out. Now, 0, NAND 0. Normally, for an AND gate, so let's do our AND over here. If we have a 0 and a 0, it would be a 0. However, it's a NAND, not an AND, because it's not. So we get the result and we flip it. So it's no longer going to be a 0, it's going to be a 1. So what's X going to be to start off with? 1. 0, 0, 1. So I don't need to change these two, they're the same. So we know that this is going to be a 0. But what happens if this is a 1? So we're doing this one now. So if C is a 1. So let's get a different colour. We're walking down the path. 1, XOR, 1. So 1 XOR 0. It will give us a 1. 1 NAND 0. So if this was an AND gate, 1 and 0 would give us 0. But it's a NAND. So we get the 0 and we flip it. So it's going to be a 1. So X is going to be a 1. I'm going to do a couple more and then you guys compare it and mark it yourself and work it through again just to double check based on my method. I'm going to do this one. 0, 1, 1. So if A is 0 and B is 1 and C is 1, well, we know that A is going to be 1 here because of that NOT gate, and B, if I go all the way here, is 1. 1 nor 1. Well, if we did an OR gate, 1 or 1 will give us 1, but because it's NOR, we flip it, so it's going to be a 0. So this is going to be a 0. For the rest of this, it's going to be the same as what I did last time with you guys, where it was A is 0 and C is 1. So what pops out here is going to be a 1. 1 and 0 will give us 1. I'm going to do one more. Let's do it in a different color, purple. 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1. So if we go for this NOT gate, it's going to be a 0. This 1 obviously travels down this road, and it's going to be 1. So we've got 1, nor 0, which would be 0. This 1 also travels down here. So we've got 1, zor 1, which gives us 0. So we've got 0, NAND 0. So on an AND gate, if we've got two zeros, it's going to give us a 0, but we flip it, because it's NAND, so it'll give us a 1. Finish it off, marking yourself, and then I'm going to give you a different one to do. Oopsie daisy. Apologies for that giant pause button in the middle of the screen. It's just glitched. Okay, so this one should be quite familiar to some of you. So I want you to give this a go first, and then I'm going to show you the solution, so pause the video. Okay, I'm not going to do many of these, I'm just going to do 2. So I'm going to pick this one to begin with. Oopsie-daisy. 0, 1, 0. So before I do that, I'm going to label my gates. So, oopsie-daisy again, zor. I'm going to do X, O for OR, N for NOT, and X for zor. 0, 1, 0, so if we've got 0, 1, 0, A, 0, B, it goes up here, so it's going to be a 1, 1, zor, 0 gives us 1, we've got C which goes through here, which gives us 1, we've got B which goes to here, which is going to be 1, so both of them go through this OR gate, so I'm going to do O for OR, which is 1, 1, zor 1 is 0, so that will be a 0. Let me do one more. Let's do this one. So A is 1, B is 1, and C is 0. So if you've got B which is 1, it travels up here. 1, 1 zor 1 we know is a 0. We've got 1 which travels here, which will be a 1. This will still be a 1 from last time. 1 or 1 is 1. So 1 zor 0 is 1. I want you to work out, well, finish marking it yourself. If you didn't use my method to mark it and see how you've done.